Hello, everybody. This is Irina Strunina, and this is our weekly podcast, Diabetically Speaking with Smart Move 360. We meet every Thursday at 4 p.m. Eastern Time, and I invite to be my guests different healthcare professionals, people who work and in their work life, they meet with people with diabetes or pre-diabetes or people who concerned about getting diagnosed and help them to improve their health and minimize or eliminate completely this diagnosis. Um, every last Thursday of the month, I speak with people who actually have diabetes. And if you listening this and you think, oh, people need to know my story, please reach out to me and we will make sure that your story will be heard. But for today, I have a professional, a very nice person that we met recently at the event that is happening in our neighborhood. We are neighbors, funny enough. Erin Wilson, and I am happy that she was able to connect with me and schedule this meeting. And Erin, please welcome and introduce yourself so people will also get as excited as I am to hear from you.
Oh, thank you so much, Arena. I'm Erin Wilson with Best Life Physical Therapy, with locations both here in Marietta, Georgia, and also a location in Louisville, Kentucky. We are a holistic physical therapy clinic, and we address the autonomic nervous system to really help to bring people out of that fight or flight condition or even a freeze condition and into parasympathetic function where the body heals itself. And what we have learned about this vagal nerve, it's using the polyvagal theory, is that when we are in a greater state of parasympathetic function, that our cortisol levels are more level, we cannot control the fact that we have stressors in our life, right?
Yes.
Stressors come, but it's how we are flexible and able to meet the stress or go into that fight or flight or even freeze sometimes when that happens, but then come quickly back into parasympathetic state. And that's where we get better blood sugar level control, insulin reactivity, the way it's supposed to be controlled. And so what we're finding is that people we're working with actually, when they're wearing their monitors, they actually have better control of their blood sugar levels because we're in a parasympathetic state. So it's been really interesting over the last 5 years or so working with people with this to see that it's not only helping them heal and get back to where they feel like themselves again and doing the things they love, but also being able to control the progression of, pre-diabetes and diabetic control because of the fact that they're in that parasympathetic function more often. So I'd
Awesome.
love to share with you today some techniques about how we can do vagal toning techniques, just easy things that we can just kind of intersperse or stack into our daily routines that might be helpful. And these techniques are completely free to do; they don't cost any money.
You don't need
And
an expert to do it for you, right? Everybody can do it themselves.
That's right. So, at Best Life PT, our mission, our aim is to really create a user's manual for people and
Uh-huh.
then give them tools that they can use. You got your manual, you open up and you're like, okay, here's the issue. And then, oh, here's the tool I'm going to pick out and use that tool to help me to, deal with that issue. So, a lot of times when people are in pain, it's hard to move and it's hard to
Yeah.
exercise and get movement. And so that's when you would, maybe need to come in, see one of us, or even telehealth work with us. But if you're, and then also we teach these vagal toning techniques so that we can bring you into parasympathetic function so that you can heal, because we believe everyone has the capacity to heal.
Absolutely. This is very good, and it's so aligned with what, you see my name, my company name is Smart Move 360, and I do
Right.
believe that the movement is the key to our, you know, more productive, happy life that for everyone. And until we move, nothing will change. And if we stay stagnant, if we just sit and expect things to happen for us, we may stay and wait for a very long time, and the time is passing. So to be present in life, enjoy the whatever is happening around us, the nature, the relationships, the successes at work, and all this, you got to keep moving. And I see that talking with some people in our Facebook group, Diabetes 101 for Beginners, also reading the posts that people are giving their experience, sharing their experiences. Once people decide that they want a change, that
Yes.
they want to feel better, and they all find the way to bring some movement. And I know that some people just have limited mobility for different reasons, but they find a way to incorporate some sort of a movement without going outside. But very often we see, if this is not uh, absence of limbs, they eventually start getting on their feet and moving around the house first, and not necessarily going out, then to the mailbox, then somewhere, somewhere further. So this is very, very the way how people who are working on improving their health condition is how it goes. And I'm happy that there are services like yours where you can actually help people to be more active, productive, and don't do the trial and error thing, but actually do direct approach, right? So aim for the problem and work with the problem that limits the mobility, limits the movement, right? This
So
is,
we just meet people where they are.
yeah,
So whatever fitness level, people, and then we can give people the exact right amount of exercise that they need to get to that next level and to get, but you're right, it's baby steps. You have to just take baby steps and meet people where they are, really.
mm,
But and I think that's one of the things I just wanted to share today was how can we just add just a little bit. So for example, I know it's really helpful for blood sugar levels to eat. So you eat something and then you want to move after that, right? So moving after to level that blood sugar level out after you eat something is a good idea. Well, so going for a walk, if you're at that stage where you can go outside and go for a walk, well, let's go ahead and when we're out for a walk, let's try to be mindfully walking. So we're going to
mm-hmm,
be moving, but then also just take an opportunity to look around and experience the neutral. So say you're in a negative mindset before, you go out for the walk. Try to just notice something neutral instead of the negative thing that you wanted to be that you were focusing on. Notice the breeze on your face or the sun glinting off the leaves, the sound of the birds, whatever it is. And just being outside in nature is going to be helpful to bring that cortisol level down, which
yes,
will help with leveling out your blood sugar. But if you're in a point where you can't get outside, like you were mentioning, Irina, for people, then we can move. And even just doing an isometric contraction, which just means you contract and you don't move the muscle, but you contract and push into different directions. So if you can see my hand, I'm pushing this direction, this direction, this direction, and this
yes,
direction. That's using the muscle. And maybe we focus on, but it doesn't have to be painful. Even if a joint is painful, hopefully we can find a position that is comfortable. And then we just use our own hand, or even, like a door frame or something to push against. And that's moving, and that's movement, and just moving is going to bring, that those muscles are asking for that fuel source. And so that's how we're leveling out the blood sugar, and how the body works. And it's just such an intricate system that when we spend, and research shows us, when we spend even such a short time as like 3 months just doing something a little bit more than what we've done, that has a big impact on our
Absolutely.
cortisol levels and
Yes.
our blood sugar levels. And so it's just, I oftentimes I'll tell patients when I'm working with them, I'm like, okay, here's what I want you to start with. And I want you to look at your calendar and mark it for 3 months from now. And 3 months from now, that's when you're going to see the change. It's hard to kind of see that when you're right in the middle of it, when you're beginning something.
Yes.
We are kind of Americans, and we just want things yesterday. It'd be great if we could just
This
take a
is
pill and it'd be
human
all better.
nature. We all, there is not
Right.
that much patience in us. Not, doesn't
Right.
matter what country you're living in.
Okay. Well, I would just have that perspective, since I am. But yeah, we just want things pretty instantaneous. And I say, okay, let's just set the date for 3 months from now, and let's just try to be consistent between now and then and see where we are. And then most of the time, people are feeling so good by that 3 months time frame, they don't want to quit. They just want to keep on moving forward. So, I have a lot of technique. I'd love to share some techniques, some vagal toning techniques with you guys, because there are so many just really simple things. And I think the best thing is to find something that resonates with you, something that, and not all of these things. I've got a lot of things that I can share, but don't try to do all of them.
Yes.
Just pick one that really resonates with you, and be like, yeah, I can pick that, I can incorporate that in my day. And for the next 3 months, I'm going to try to incorporate that, and then see where I am,
Hmm.
see if that's really do your your own experiment, and,
Yeah.
and see
Yeah.
if that
Yeah.
helps to level out some of that cortisol level, so that, your nervous system is more flexible, and you're better able to manage those blood sugar levels. I mean, I think the goal would be, if you're pre-diabetic, get that A1C down and really try to prevent going into diabetes. If you're already diabetic, try to get back into those lower levels and see
Yes.
what we can do. Try to get off medication. That would be fabulous, right?
Absolutely. Well, what you said, it actually makes a lot of sense to me. For one thing, as you mentioned, we all want the results like real quick. And this is why all those scammers out there suggesting, here is the pill, here is the supplement, here is this, here is that, that will fix your condition
Right.
right away. Well, maybe it will affect your blood sugar levels for a period of time. But if you don't change anything, the minute you stop using that supplement, your blood sugar will go back to where it was, if not worse. So this is not sustainable. And But if we plan for something, as you said, 3 months long, uh, this is not we can relax, right? Because nobody is expecting from us an immediate result, like in 5 days, in 2 weeks. I have 3 months to apply this technique, to apply this movement, to apply this whatever change I decided to make, and we'll see how it works. So we can relax a little bit, all right? And
Yes.
the last thing that I really loved what you said. I myself often would say to people or to anyone, when you are nervous, if you are under stress, if everything is bad and you don't see anything that could help you to relax, try to find something positive. Try to bring smile to yourself, just like
Yes.
looking at the child, at the puppy, at the bird. But you said even better, neutral. even neutral, not necessarily positive, negative, just
Right.
neutral, noticing that, okay, the sky today is gray. It's already thinking about something different than what is bothering you at the moment. Or,
Right.
well, I'm saying the gray because you could see, right? We're in
It's a
Atlanta.
bit
It
gray.
was.
The sun's coming out here a little bit, but
So, but the point that you brought up is wonderful. I have a question for you though.
yes.
You keep mentioning Vegas system. What is that?
Oh, thank you so much for pointing that out. So, there's one of the biggest nerves in the body is called the vagus nerve, and it's located in the brainstem right back here. And it is a cranial nerve, and it comes from the brain, and it travels down through our throat.
Yes.
And it goes into our ears. We can access it through our ears a little bit, and then it goes to our digestive system, and it actually controls whether or not we have goosebumps, and it controls so many things. It's our autonomic nervous system, so it's either going to bring us into it's really wired for our survival. So it is
Uh-huh.
here to keep us alive, and so you have to think about it. Thank it, even if it's bringing us into fight or flight, where we feel anxious and uptight, or even that freeze response where we act like we're dead, so people leave us and don't worry about it. And that can be bad because it can bring us into like a paralyzed state, or like a depressed kind of state if we're in that freeze response. But on the other end of it is the parasympathetic response. And that's where we rest, we get good sleep, and we recover and we digest. And so that's where it really comes into play with diabetes and blood sugar control, is that parasympathetic state. So you can see that if we are in fight or flight response, and we're kind of maybe quote unquote stuck there in fight or flight or freeze, our nervous system is not digesting, it's
Mm-hmm.
not resting, it's not recovering, and it's not bringing our blood sugar level down. It's actually bringing blood sugar to the bloodstream, so that we can have our working muscles to be used, so we can fight that bear in the woods or run
Yes.
from it. So it's huge. When we're talking about diabetes, it's really huge, whether or not we're in fight or flight, or we're in that parasympathetic state. So so what we would want to do is some techniques that would simulate vagal. It's called vagal toning. So we want to
Uh-huh.
tone that vagus nerve so that we have good flexibility to go in and out of that response. So so that, and the interesting thing is, it's like I said, the loci of it is up here in the brainstem, and it's a cranial nerve. So that means it's 80% sensory.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting, right? So what comes to us is the senses. So I've got a little puffy pen here. You see
Yes.
that? And so that vagus nerve is next door neighbors to all of the cranial nerves. And the cranial nerves are the nerves about our face, and they are involved with social engagement. So
Uh-huh.
one of the things I tell people to do to help them bring them into social engagement, or that ventral vagus function, is engage with people. And so the way we engage with people is eye contact
Yes.
and smiling, right?
Yes.
Our facial, maybe even turning our head so I can hear you better.
Uh-huh.
Um, my inflection of my voice. So humming and singing, those are great ways to stimulate vagus nerve. But I've got this little puffy pen, and I want to show you how you could use it. Something very simple. If it resonates with you, great, use it. And so what you're going to do is just take the pen and just kind of brush it on your face. And just that light touch, like a feather or something really soft like this, can help to bring people into vagus function. So say you can't really move right now because you're hurting. You could take a puff pen and just stroke your face. And it's
Interesting.
such a sense of relaxation just by that soft touch. And it's just because these nerves are 80% sensory. So they're taking in information, and they bring that to the vagus nerve and bring us more into ventral vagus function.
That's
So, and I
when the
know
dog is that's when the dog is licking my face that I don't allow them to do. But if they managed, they really somehow, or maybe the cat is rubbing their back over your face, it's
yes,
calming down.
so
Okay.
soft. Yeah. So that is a very easy thing to do. I know I work with some people and they said, "Oh, I do this to my child," or even write straight down
Yes,
through here to get them to go to sleep at night. Well,
yeah,
guess what? Even adults can use this to go
of
to sleep
course.
at night. So, we want to get better sleep because sleep is part of that parasympathetic function. So, um, you also heard me say that humming and vocalization
Yes.
can be a really great technique for vagal toning. And so one of the huge techniques that I use all the time in my clinic, most of the time I try to end my sessions with this hum breathing,
Mm-hmm.
is to really bring people into a mindfulness about breathing. Would it be okay if I instruct you on hum breathing right
Absolutely.
now?
Let's
Okay,
do it.
so here's how we would do hum breathing. So we would take the tongue and place it from the front to the back on the roof of the mouth, and you're going to kind of press that tongue up into that soft palate.
Mm-hmm.
The soft palate is embryologically comes from the same tissues as the diaphragm and the pelvic diaphragm.
Okay.
So all those diaphragms came from the same tissues. So when we press gently above there, we're going to stimulate that diaphragm. We want to do this deep breathing technique to help with bringing us into the ventral vagus function. So the tongue's against the top of the mouth is closed. We're going to bring all the air in and out the nose. That's actually going to help with nitric oxide also when we bring all of our breath in and out the nose, which is going to be great for helping to calm down the nervous system. And what we're going to do is we're going to focus more on the long exhales that we are going to be able to create as a result of humming as we exhale. So your first inhale, I really don't want you to think about it too much. But on your exhale, I want you to really focus on a long exhale with the hum. So would it be okay if we try it together?
Sure.
Okay, so the exhale is gonna, so you have to start with an inhale just so you have something to exhale, right? So just,
Yes.
but on the next exhale, on the next inhale, I would like that to just kind of be as a result of this negative pressure that we're gonna be developing because we exhale so long. So you're
Mm-hmm.
gonna exhale long, tiny pause at the end of the exhale, and then the air just comes back into the lungs as a result of the long exhale. Okay, so that's how we're going to try this. So let's give it a shot. So inhale normally. And there's a pause, and then just let it come in. Exhale long.
Mm.
Did you notice? Are you trying it with me?
I'm trying it with you. Yes.
Okay. Did you notice at the end of the exhale, I don't want there to be like a air hunger where you're like, oh, I have to breathe in again. I would like it to just be very relaxing.
Mm-hmm.
And at the end of the exhale, there's just a tiny pause. The air comes back in, but it doesn't feel like you're having to, grasp it back right exactly like
Yes.
that. It just comes right back in as a result of that contraction of your diaphragm. And I don't know that I want to spend 5 minutes of our interview working on hum breathing, but it is really fruitful and it's a very relaxing technique. If you're going to be doing it in bed at night next to your spouse, then you might want to explain to your spouse what you're doing. So otherwise, it's a great technique to do anytime you feel a bit upregulated, like you've got kind of a tension in your chest, or you're feeling anxious about something. Like before this interview, I was like, I'm gonna have to talk and present myself. I'm feeling a little anxious, so I spent a couple of minutes doing hum breathing, and it was very helpful to bring that nervous system back into a regulated state. It was really lovely. So, and that's completely free. You got to breathe anyways, right? So,
Yes. Well,
um,
you see, it's we very often hear about different ways of breathing, the square breathing, you've heard that, and the different other techniques when you exhale with in the short intervals, like
Hmm.
so. Every technique has their benefits,
Hmm.
and this is another one to know because breathing, when we start focusing on specific, okay, today I will be using this technique, right? You're
Hmm.
already not thinking about the problem that makes you
Right.
anxious. It
Right.
helps you to focus on something neutral, not necessarily positive, neutral. You're
Yes.
focusing on providing oxygen to your body, right? And
Right.
this is something that very interesting, and I need to use it more often to report to you how it affects me.
I'll be waiting for that report.
Yeah. Well, Erin, you mentioned that in our conversation before this video recording that you have a YouTube channel. What is on your YouTube channel?
So I have all kinds of playlists on the YouTube channel. One of them is labeled reboots for the autonomic nervous system. And so all of the techniques that I have that I use with my patients are all available public. They're free for calming the nervous system down, bringing you into ventral vagus function. They're all labeled under that playlist. So
Hmm.
I have other playlists as well on my channel. I don't know when it was, maybe a year ago, maybe it was 6 months ago when I decided I was kind of keeping all my techniques for myself so I could just send them to patients when I needed them. And I was like, you know what? If anyone wants to come and to my YouTube channel and find a solution, I mean, I'm more than happy to help people because I love to help people. But if someone is, not in my local area and they need the help that I could give and it's on YouTube, I'm going to share it with people. So I've made
Absolutely.
all of my videos public. And I've been practicing for 25 years in physical therapy, and I've been focused on the autonomic nervous system with the primal reflex release technique for about 10 years.
Hmm.
And so, about 5 years ago, I opened my own practice, and that was in Louisville, Kentucky. And I've since moved here to Georgia about a year ago. And so I open a practice here too. And I use those techniques when I'm treating my patients. I'll do the reflexive technique in our session, but then after the session, I will send people home with just a little bite to chew. So
Yes.
these videos that I've got on my YouTube channel are just a little bite to chew that
Yes.
the patients are supposed to be working on in between sessions to kind of reinforce what we've done together. But sometimes they are solid. Sometimes they are so good that they can stand on their own.
Yeah.
And if I can help people, go into my YouTube channel and check out the playlist. And if there's something helpful for you in there, I always try to introduce myself and say why you would want to do this technique. So, if there's anyone out there listening that, is feeling stuck and they're in pain and they can't move, and, we know movement is going to be the solution.
Yes.
If you can't move, then some of these techniques I have they're really fabulous for getting people back into feeling like themselves again, functioning. I would suggest starting with the reboot, some of those autonomic nervous system reboots that I've got on the reboot playlist
Uh-huh.
first, because that brings you into ventral vagus function where healing occurs. And then look for your specific question or problem that you've got.
Absolutely. Well, it's actually thank you for sharing this because, and the link to YouTube channel will be under this, in the comments under this podcast. Um, the just yesterday, at our support group meeting that we have every 2 weeks in our group,
Mm,
somebody was sharing that they had the cancer treatment, and after this procedures, all the period of receiving those treatments, they have problems walking, they have problems with their feet. And
mm-hmm,
I'm sure people who in a similar situation because of different uh, challenges with health that they have, they may find something there that they don't need to come to Atlanta, Georgia to see you. They could actually start practicing what you're explaining there on their own, even if they're in different country, right? Some, I don't know, Australia. It's a far away.
Sure. Sure. Yeah. Definitely. And, there are, other practitioners too that they could go to locally as
Yes,
well. I know, my license allows me to treat people in Georgia or in Kentucky because that's where I'm licensed. And I can do telehealth with people in those states as well. But as far as using the resources, God put me here for, I believe, for a reason, and it's to help people. So if anything that I have, it can be helpful to anyone wherever they are, regardless, I'm happy to share.
absolutely. Thank you. And so you also have a website. This is another way to YouTube is just to watch. Maybe comments will help. Are you checking, reading the comments in the YouTube or
Yeah, I don't really
reading
have that
by
many
yourself?
comments, but sure, I'll answer comments that people
Yes,
have.
but you have a
Um,
website, so
my
this is how
website
people
is
can.
bestlifeptky.com.
Yeah,
And that's how you could book now. You can hit the book now button and schedule directly on the website if you wanted to. And you can learn more about the primal reflex release technique, or I use another technique called pain neutralization technique,
yes,
which, and then obviously, I don't know if you know about trigger point dry needling. But
yeah.
it's a technique for a muscle. It's kind of like a muscle that. So I'm actually a physical therapist that says if you have a tight muscle, don't stretch it.
Mm-hmm.
Necessarily, not necessarily, because it's kind of like the seatbelt. If you put a seatbelt on and then you slam on the brakes, that
Yes,
seatbelt gets locked.
yes.
And if you keep pulling on that seatbelt, it's can actually do more damage
Uh-huh.
to, it's not going to help it to keep pulling on. It's in a locked position because of that high alert state of the autonomic nervous system. So we have reflexive techniques that we use instead. And some of those reflexive techniques are the primal reflex release technique, the pain neutralization technique, and there's some other techniques that we use, but also dry needling because it can kind of make that muscle twitch and then release, and then
Yeah.
you can stretch it. So there are a lot of different ways. So I do want to give people hope for, if you're feeling very stuck and you can't move and you're painful and so you can't move, so you can't, get movement after you eat and normalize the blood sugar levels.
Mm-hmm.
There is hope that, come see us. We'd love to help you, or find a local practitioner that is local to you that can help you. But that's what I really do believe, that physical therapy is one of the best ways to address these
Yes,
movement impairments. That's what we do. We're movement people,
yes,
and
absolutely.
it makes it easy for me to talk about and share with people because I believe it's the best way. So, um, yeah, that's
And it's holistic, it's natural, so it doesn't involve extra chemical added to your body. You use your body's resources to heal itself because our body is actually made
That's
to,
our
to
that's our
heal.
motto. We help active people get back to doing the things they love without the need for medications or surgery.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
Absolutely. Well, Erin, unfortunately, we have to wrap up right now. So again, your website is bestlifeptky.com,
KY.com.
right? And what is the name for your YouTube channel?
It's Best Life PT, also. So I'll send the link for that
Yes,
as
yes.
well.
We will post it
Yes.
under the recording in comments. In comments. Um, I wanted just to remind before we part, I would like to remind everybody in the group, who is watching us, not necessarily in the group, that in our Facebook group, we have activities going on. We have Telenurse Tuesday on Tuesdays. This is a session from 7 to 8 p.m. Eastern Time when one of our registered nurses answers the questions. It's not live video session. It's just responding like you would do on a, I don't know, WhatsApp correspondence in the group. You post the question, nurses answering, and things like that. Every other Wednesday, we have our support group meetings. One of them we had yesterday. I mentioned about it, and they are happening at 7 p.m. Eastern Time again. So if you are in need to just to connect with people and just listen, uh, you want somebody to listen to you, and somehow you just don't have um, supporting team with you at the moment, come to our meetings because we are there with open ears, open hearts to listen, to help, to share, to find the solution. Whatever we can help, we will do. Of course, every Thursday we have our podcast, Diabetically Speaking with Smart Move 360. It goes live at 4 p.m. Eastern Time, where we speak with experts, healthcare experts. But every last Thursday of the month, this is the event. It's called Warriors, where we interview people who are sharing their stories and experiences with this diagnosis: type 2 diabetes, sometimes type 1 diabetes, sometimes some other immune suppressed diseases, but the challenge is always the same. We have to adjust our life to make some changes and how they overcome that. One more event that I wanted everybody to know, it's called Crash Course Diabetes 101 for Caregivers. This is our registered dietitian, Kim Kyle, and myself. We do this live meeting, 2 hours crash course meeting at on the last Saturday of the month. This is our commitment for 2025, and we just Kim is going over different aspects from the dietitian standpoint, and we also were talking about the pharmaceutical issues and reading labels and insulin resistance, not only nutrition. We are talking about everything, including the mental health and help that we may help people with. So I would strongly recommend to check out our recordings of this crash course, which is also on our YouTube channel, Smart Move 360. And just like this podcast also will be there, everybody is welcome to listen. It's already third season, third year we are doing this podcast. We had plenty of interviews every
It's
Thursday, don't forget.
really fabulous that you're doing this, Irina. I really applaud you for your
Thank
efforts.
you.
It's really
Thank you,
great.
Erin. Well, thank you for your time today. It was great conversation, great tips. I am glad that people will be able to actually go and pick up some other ideas that
Yeah.
you demonstrate. I didn't go to your YouTube channel, so it's
Oh, you
we
should
need
check it
to go
out.
and
It's
check
really
it out.
great.
Yes. And we will stay in touch. Let's see
Okay.
how what else we can do together.
Would
And
love
for
that.
everybody, thank you for listening. Share it with those who could use this
That's
information.
right.
And Erin, talk to you soon.
Have a
Everybody, see
fabulous
you
day.
next week.
Bye-bye.
Bye bye.